Hello, and welcome to the Health Data Ethics Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Owens, and in today's episode, I'm going to be going through a little bit of the hardware and software and approach that I use when I'm doing mobile interviews, usually when I attend conferences. I found that this is a really good way to hold content from conferences. It's a great way to supercharge your networking when you're at a conference, when you're trying to connect with speakers and with others in your field. It's also a more engaging way to bring content back from the conference to others at your institution who might be interested in that content without having to read through a page of notes or create an entire presentation saying, this is what I learned at conference X in October 2024. So I've gotten some questions on the rig that I use. It's very minimal. Really, this whole thing was kind of assembled under the guiding photography principle that the best camera for you is the camera that is in your hand that you will use. So this is as stripped down as we can make it without sacrificing quality of both the experience for you as the interviewer and the experience of watching the videos. So the crux of everything is this phone cage. This is a SmartRig phone cage, but you can find many similar ones from many other companies. I should probably stop here and say that none of this is sponsored. I paid for all of this stuff. Actually, this is a shared rig between my husband and I, so we paid for all of this out of our own pockets. So this is a SmartRig phone cage. It is intended to hold a cell phone, and then we've added an aftermarket battery pack holder here. So when you're putting this together, just plop your cell phone here like so. Make sure that you're not accidentally pressing down on the button that causes the emergency call. Done that before, that's fun. And then your battery backup goes back here. I have an Anker battery backup, charges via USB, holds charge for a really long time. I've been very happy with it. And then the battery backup, you just connect via USB into your phone. So now your phone won't die over the course of the day. Super helpful. And you notice we've got this other little dongle thing back here. I have both the battery backup and my audio input running into my headphone jack. And now we'll get to the audio input. I have a Sennheiser wireless mic, your traditional newscaster long stem mic. Makes people feel a little bit more official if they have something that they can hold in their hands. It also cuts down on background noise when you're not using the phone built-in microphone. Really helps pick up whatever people are putting directly into the microphone. Cuts down on background noise, also on wind. It will dampen a little bit any vocal popping. So if you have a person who's really hard on their plosives or really likes to squeak their S's, it's going to cut down on that a little bit. Obviously, wireless mic needs a receiver. So the receiver goes on our rig. And that just slides in up top like so. And then that audio input goes into this jack that goes into your phone. And that's it. It is a bit of an arm workout, which is great. You can, if you wish, add a light source to this. You can put it on the side, you can drop it on the bottom. I just find that because I'm 5'2", often the light source then is coming from beneath, which is not the most flattering. So this adds a little bit of weight as well, and it adds a little bit more of an intimidation factor. So I tend to leave it off unless I know that I'm doing something where I want an additional light source. That's the rig. How I take my videos. I take them using my iPhone's native camera, and I edit them only by trimming the beginning and the end. This is pretty minimal. In the future, I may switch actually to recording in my podcasting platform, which will give me a little bit more control over the editing. But really what I'm looking for when I'm doing these kind of mobile interviews is an organic feeling interview that is very quick to edit and quick to post. When I'm at conferences, I try to post these things in as close to real time as possible, just to make sure that other people who are at the conference are getting a chance to see takeaways from sessions that they may not have been able to have a chance to attend. I also want to make sure that carrying this around a conference will make you really visible and people will come and ask you questions, but I want to make sure that I'm putting out content in good faith while I'm at the conference so people have a chance to see and to understand what they're getting into if they do agree to an interview with me. Interview approach, quick and easy. So if I'm attending a session, I will sit during the session and I'll write down no more than 2, maybe 3 questions that I want to follow up on the presenter. And what I want to do is I want to give them a chance to reiterate their key theses and takeaways in this video. So if they've got a central thesis of communication being, really crucial for change management, or if they've got a central thesis that artificial intelligence can absolutely supercharge your investment strategy, or whatever, I want to make sure that I have accurately understood their key thesis, and then I want to be able to set them up so that they can repeat that and give my viewers and people who might not have had a chance to see their session some key takeaways. And this is good for after session interviews. If you're doing an interview for a session that you will not be able to attend or to or to sort of pique interest in a session that is upcoming, I switch it up a little bit. So if it's a session that I haven't been able to attend, I will ask my interviewee questions about, tell me a little bit, tease me a little bit of the content of your session. Or if people aren't able to attend it, tell me what 2 things you want me to know. And then is there a resource that I can go to if I want to learn from you, but I'm not able to attend your session? And then if you're doing a pre-interview with like a keynote speaker, you can ask them again to tease their content, talk to you about things that they're hoping people will take away from their talk. And then I always close these mini interviews with asking people to tell me about the conference. So I want them to really dive in on the conference experience. What is it like to be a speaker? What have been some key takeaways that you've had from other speakers? What are the 3 words that you would use to describe the energy in the room? What sessions are you most looking forward to? Is there anything that you've done in previous years that you would like to see happen again this year? It really kind of 2 approaches with the interviews. One is that I want the speakers to have a chance to summarize and share their content. And the other is that I want to place the speakers very much in the context of the conference as a whole, because when you're doing these mobile interviews, you're essentially kind of serving as a face of the conference, even if you're not officially affiliated with the conference group. So you want to make sure that you're presenting a positive experience of the conference, and that you're making it clear that each of the speakers is placed within the context of this larger conference group. So that's my rig. That's my extremely minimal software approach. That's my approach to interviewing. If you see me out and about at the next conference, if you're interested, if you want to talk about it, let's give it a shot. I absolutely love doing mobile interviews because it's a really quick way to connect with people. And I love having these videos as a resource to share. When people say, oh, were you at that conference, in 2023? I was like, oh yeah, I was there and I spoke with, this speaker and that speaker. I have some nice videos if you are curious at all about any of their work. So it's helpful. It's a little bit more engaging than having pages full of notes to take back or like handouts. And it does give you some skills with speaking on the fly. One thing that I do want to add is that when you're doing these mobile interviews, much like the process of doing a sit-down podcast, the process of preparing for the interviews, of reading through the conference agenda, of finding the speakers that you want to talk with, of listening thoughtfully to previous talks that they've given, or reading articles, or listening to the talk that they're giving at the conference, of synthesizing that information, writing down your questions, and then pitching those questions to them, editing the podcast, and then editing the interview, and then seeing the responses that you get and the kind of connection and community that you can get when you share it. Really, the actual product of the video is almost beside the point. All of the preparation that goes into the making of the video and making sure it's a good one, and then sharing it and encouraging the conversation that comes after, that's the real value of doing this. I find that it's so helpful to help me make sure that I'm paying attention to the right things, and it's really enabled me to deepen my learning when I'm traveling for work, or when I'm preparing for a podcast interview with someone. I'm engaging with their work on a different level than I might be if I were just chatting with somebody over coffee or over like a meet and greet, or if we're at a conference at some sort of vendor event or some sort of mixer. So the preparation and the thought that you put into it is the most valuable part.